So I'm going to show you the Sony Bloggie today, which I've just got. I bought this from Jessop's about an hour ago. Got home and, as you do, got straight into the box to open it. Now the Sony Bloggie appears to be discontinued, this particular model at least, the MHS PM5K. However, the specifications seemed quite good, so I thought I'd pick one up while it's relatively cheap. Now, when I got home I noticed that the seal had already been broken, and when I opened this we get the usual, all the junk you get, the CD, the manuals, the sales pitches, and inside we have the 360-degree panorama conversion lens, which I'll talk about more in another video. A USB cable, an AV cable. This is a little case for the special lens. A USB extender. So that's not an actual cable, that's an extender. And a wrist strap. So here's the actual unit. I'll show you more of that in a second. What we should have included, was the list, is the camera, which I do, a rechargeable battery, which it didn't have, the AV connecting cable, USB connection support cable we have, the memory stick, which is in here, 4 gigabytes, the special video lens, the pouch, a CD-ROM, and the wrist strap, did I say? So this is the unit. Very small, very neat, and it does full HD. The on-off switch is simple, rotation of the lens turns the unit on. Now fortunately I have a battery from an old Sony Digicam, digital compact camera, so I was able to test this, but I've spoken to Jessop's to find out what they're going to do about the missing battery, because I do want that. The screen is fairly small, as you can see, but it's plenty big enough for seeing where you sit within the frame. So if you want to frame yourself correctly when you're doing a little bit of video, this is great. And it's a lot cheaper than buying an expensive camera, digital DSLR with a flip out screen. For example, the 600D, the Canon, the Nikon D5100, the Canon 60D, and so on. These are all quite expensive cameras, very good, but expensive. This little thing does HD, it's pocketable, swivel lens, so you can film yourself or you can film somebody else. Let me just put that down for a moment. And extremely high quality results, which I'm going to show you because I'm going to film something in a moment. I'm actually taping on here because I find the sound is so good on the Tascam DR07 that I prefer that to the sound from the Canon 550D. So I'm going to sync this in later. Now what I'm going to do is pause for a moment, set this up on a little tripod I have, the GorillaPod, and then take some test footage so you can see the type of quality that comes from this particular unit, and you can compare it with the Canon 550D, which is filming this segment. Okay, I'll come back to you in a moment with this. Okay, and we're back, and in fact you're now looking at the footage from the Sony, and as you can see this is pretty good footage. I'm going to be able to use the panoramic lens to do a 360-degree sweep, and I will show you that separately because I believe the footage has to be converted to make it usable. But in any event, you can already see the kind of image quality. And by the way, there's face recognition on this, which the Canon doesn't have, so that's great. It means it will follow me and focus on me wherever I am in the frame. Now what I wanted to do was replace an old flip cam, a very old one that a friend got me many years ago. This is the original. Fantastic device in its day, but the quality really isn't that good, and Well, the screen is fixed on the back, so you can't see what you can't see if you're taping yourself, which is a problem. So I wanted a cheap, small device that would replace the aging flip. And of course these are being discontinued now. The flip company has dissolved, I think, or they're closing down the division because the consumer market has changed with smartphones and iPhones and the like. But very few people buy this type of thing anymore. So you've got the footage on the Sony and you've got the footage on the Canon. What I will do at some point is splice the two together and do a split screen so you can see them side by side. Now I know I'm much closer to the Sony than I am to the Canon, but in terms of direct comparison you can't really compare a Canon and the little Sony Bloggie, but as a quick rough and ready test it will give you an idea of the type of quality you might get. And remember, the sound is coming from the Tascam, so that will tell you the quality of the Tascam sound. I do have other videos which show that, so please have a look at those and see what you think. Nothing else to say about this. I'll give you the specs in the details. What we have, let me just check actually. What we have on the Sony, we have an HD setting, we have 720p available in 60 frames a second and 30 frames a second, and then there's a VGA 640-480 setting as well, which for a quick upload to YouTube to do something very fast and have a small file size, that's quite useful. But if you want quality, you'd be going to the HD or the 720 HD and use that instead. You can set NTSC or PAL, and that's about it. There's no color correction within the camera itself. You can do that in post-processing, of course, but there's very little to do really. Hit the button for record and then you're done. I'm going to do some close-ups now showing you the actual Sony menus and so on. Let me show you some of the features of the Sony Bloggie. On this side we have the on-off button. You can also tilt the lens housing to turn the unit on and off. There's a rudimentary digital zoom. I wouldn't use that personally, but it's there. I think it's a 4x digital zoom. Probably not worth having for most people because the quality is not that good. And here is the connector tab. If we lift this, we have a standard Sony connector for AV out, and in here is a sliding USB jack. As you can see, it slides in and out. So it's self-contained, quite handy, and locks away when it's not in use. On the other side of the unit we have a speaker. It's not particularly good quality, but it's there nonetheless. And this entire tab here is for the memory stick and battery mounting. Just pull it to one side and it flicks up, and we have the memory stick, which is a Sony Duo Pro. Pop that back in. And then the battery, which I think is a fairly standard one for the Sony. It's the Sony K MP-BK1. At the bottom, you may be able to just see it there, we have a loop where you can put the little strap, a tripod mount, so you can tripod mount this, which is quite convenient if you want to do hands-off filming. The usual peel-off sticker that will tell you all about what the camera will do. And then on the main side we have the rotating lens head, the main screen, and when you're filming the top half will show the actual image. The battery's died on this because I've been using it so much, but the top half will show the video image and the lower half will show settings and so on. We have a playback button here, a menu button, and a 4-way joystick paddle control. So the zoom head simply swivels into place, and you can then use the unit Oh, we have a little bit of battery life, let's see. You may be able to see some there, I'm not quite sure what you can see. So the main unit shows you the video and then gives you some settings at the bottom. Now the swivel head will rotate 270 degrees so that you can shoot from a variety of angles. In this position, it's useful for shooting yourself. Now, the reason I got this is so that I can frame the shot I'm taking using this setup here. In fact, I've had to reshoot this entire segment because yesterday, using my Canon, I shot this segment and I'd actually positioned the camera wrongly so that what you would have been seeing was something like this, which didn't show the actual Sony Blogger unit. So I've had to refilm it so that you can actually see what I'm pointing to. Now this is the big advantage of having an LCD screen that will face you, showing what the camera sees. So for quick and easy video, this is extremely useful. There are cameras which have this, the more expensive models, the Canon 60D, I think the 600D for example, the Nikon D5100. So there are ways to do the same thing with the better quality cameras, but then again you're paying a lot more money. So it really depends on what you want to do. For a quick and easy recording session, this is ideal. One thing I did notice just now, let me turn this off, this can actually take SD cards as well, according to the little sign here. So they would just go presumably into the top of the hole, or the slot where the memory stick card goes. I'm not quite sure whether you can see that. Let's have a look. You may just be able to see in there. So as you can see, all in all, this is quite a neat unit. I've left the protective plastic on for the moment so that the screen's not going to get damaged. I will pull that off later because I don't really like that kind of thing, but for now, while I'm just handling it to show you, it's keeping it clean. Very easy to use. Turn it on. That's now on. Hit the record button just here. That's for movies. Or you can take a still image with this top button here. And that will take a 5 megapixel still image. Battery life I'm not too sure about at the moment because I haven't tested it properly, but I would imagine you'd get perhaps a solid hour of shooting, which is more than enough for the kind of thing I'm going to be doing. I'll be shooting the odd 5 or 10 minute segment. So my end result with this Sony Blogger is, yep, highly recommended. I like it. I think it's very useful, very flexible. The quality is pretty good for such a small unit, and I'm glad I got it.